Okay, let's get started then. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. And my name is Prasad Magdumiki, and I work at the Research Computing Center. I think some of you know me. We've had email uh, contacts for tickets, and so today we're going to look at what Open on Demand is and how it can help you to get your work done easily. So this would be my first workshop done via Zoom because I've done several workshops since 2014, I think, since I joined. I joined FSU at 2013. So, but these are all in-person, face-to-face workshops. So this will be a new experience for me. So if you have any questions, just use the chat box, and Casey will monitor the chat box and ask the questions. And Casey, please feel free to interrupt me. I want to answer the questions as we go on because this would be a demo rather than just a talk. So I want to answer the questions, in the middle of the demo.
Sounds good, Prasad.
So Openondemand is something that developed by Ohio Supercomputing Center. The main issue facing all HPC centers is basically like how do we make it easy for a user to use the resource. Most of the community or the new users are coming from like a Windows with a Windows background. So for them, it's it's a steep learning curve to learn Linux, the basic Linux, and using the command line interface and everything just to get their work done. So this is a portal to access HPC resources without, I wouldn't say without, but using like minimal knowledge of Linux commands. And also, even if you are good with Linux, when you log in remotely or on campus, you have to use PuTTY or like WinSCP in Windows to transfer files. So one tool to log in, one tool to transfer files, and it's more complicated. So how can we make this easier, so that you can do your like research faster rather than just worrying about installing third-party tools and all that. So this is like everything in a browser approach. So all the tools you ever need would be in this Open on Demand browser window. So you don't have to install anything, and you don't need any like third-party tools. So that's the basic idea. So the features of Open on Demand is, like I said, file access. If you need the shell access, the main point of Open on Demand is not to use shell, but if you do, you can do that through the Open on Demand too. Like it's a replacement for PuTTY, for example. And also you can do job management, like submit jobs, cancel jobs, monitor jobs, everything. And most importantly, run interactive jobs like Matlab, R, Jupyter Notebook, so on. And for example, if you log into Sphere, like there's an alternative in Open on Demand. You can get access to a compute node for a set amount of time, right? And it's a graphical user environment, so you can just compile your code or do whatever you need to do, run Matlab or run Python code or whatever you need to do to get your work done. Any questions so far? So like I said, this would be a demo rather than a talk. So I just have one more slide. I think, yeah, one more slide. So connecting to Openondemand. So the only tool you need is, since these days we are all connecting from home, you need VPN. And other than that, you just need a browser. All OSs work. And in Safari, I haven't checked, but they said you get a warning, but it still works. So you can still use Safari browser or any other browser on Mac. And there is one issue if you are using a public computer, because it won't log you out. So you need to use a private window on Firefox or Chrome. I think that's what I know. I think even with other browsers, you can get a private window. But if it's your personal computer, it doesn't really matter. And we set up this ood.rcc.fsu.edu. So you can just type that in, and then it will ask your username and password. Then you are in. You don't have any questions, I'm going to just do that right now. I have my private window. So I do od.rcc.fsu.edu. So I'm using a temporary account just to show you how things done. Okay. Just takes a few seconds. Okay. So this is what the main window, the main web page looks like. There are a couple of items in the menu like files, jobs. I'll go through each or most of these. Okay, so the first item is the files. This gives access to your home directory. So it's a complete, if you are a Windows user, I think you are much, it's much familiar with this look, right? So you can just look at the subdirectories if they're, and you can go through all the directory tree like that. So, and you can go to directory by clicking here, or you can just click here and go to whichever directory like that. And you can there are two menus like here and go to I'll go to the terminal later, and you can create a new file, can give a name, say test. Can you all, by the way, can you all see me, the screen share well?
Yeah, you're coming through clear, as well as your monitor.
Okay, good. So I can just create a file. There you go. And then you can create a new directory. Most importantly, upload the file. You can just browse your local directory. I'll just pick something not too big, not too small. So you can see the progress bar here. I mean, it depends on your connection, but I tried like 100 megabyte file. It took me like a minute or two. I think it really depends on your connection. Also, you can just look at the file. You can edit here, but you can just see the contents of the file. You can also edit, but I'll come back to that in a minute. And you can rename things. I can rename it test2. And you can download it. So it's downloaded. Again, it depends on the connection, but it should be, I think the documentation says that you can go up to like a gig or to a few gigabyte files. I haven't tested that, but yeah, if your file is bigger than that, you should use Globus link. And you can copy paste files between directories. I think it's very, I don't have to demonstrate that. So let's go to edit. So this opens up a file editor in a new window. Just takes a second. And this is a very handy window. And if you are like, there are a couple of things here. So I'll first increase the font size. Say 22, oh, it's too big. So you can choose your font size. And if you are like Emacs or VI user, you can have the key bindings like Vim or Emacs. I would do Emacs. That's your choice. And also it changes the, it identifies what kind of file you are using, and it understands the keywords and stuff. So the file support is available for many different types of files, except Fortran, I figured. And you can change the theme. If you want to like a darker theme, you can create a terminal, something like that. So you can you can customize it the way you like it. And after you are done editing, you can save the file and close the editor. I think that's it about the file, the home directory tab, I think. Yeah. Any questions so far? Yeah. So this is very like simple. It's not like OpenMPI. So this will be a, yeah. So next, let's go to the shell access. So if you click on the clusters, okay, by the way, if you have an Rcc account, you can try this, while, I'm doing the demo. And if you encounter any problems, you can just let me know. You can submit a ticket later, but if you have any questions, you can ask now. It's better. If you go to clusters and HPC shell access, you get a terminal window, right? But this is not on the Openondemand node. This is on our login node. This is one of our login nodes. So you can, as you can see, you are connected to the HPC login node. So you can do your work there. And after you're done, as ALS or whatever, and then you can log out, and then you have to close the window. So like I said, the point is you don't need the terminal, but if you need it, it's there. You can access it from Openondemand. Oh, one thing I have to tell you is there is no X11 forwarding here. For example, if I want to run Matlab, I only get the CLI, the command line version of MATLAB. I will not see the MATLAB GUI window. So that's the only downside. But there are a couple of ways you can do X11 forwarding, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, MATLAB's taking a long time, so I'll just quit. Page. So the most important feature of Openondemand is these interactive apps. These are called apps. These are just regular applications. So currently we installed Matlab, Stata, Visit, Jupyter Notebook, and RStudio Server. These are the most commonly used applications that we know of. But if you need something else, say Paraview, PyMol, or whichever GUI tool that you use, just let us know and we'll work on it. And I'm sure we can, have these available on Openondemand. So let's start with Rcc Desktop. So this is the first app that lets you access to a HPC node. So this is a very simplified submit script, we can say. So you can control how many hours you want to access. Okay, so this is a little confusing. It says number of nodes, but in reality it's number of CPU cores. So number of cores. I'll make that correction. I just noticed it a couple of hours ago. I didn't want to change it now. And you can change the partition. I think, okay, there was a ticket about the partition yesterday, and I wanted to tell him that yes, our documentation says Openondemand partition, something about that, but we wanted to, have users access any of the partitions available to them through Openondemand, not just a single dedicated partition. So we, sort of deprecate having a specific partition for Openondemand. Rather, you can use any partition you can have access to in OOD, in Openondemand. Did that answer your question, Florian? I think you are here. Anyway, so I say, so the shortest amount of time you can ask is 1 hour, because this is a interactive job. So having 10 minutes or 15 minutes is not very practical, because by the time job is started and you notice it, and it's already too late. So let's, and also you can ask it to send an email when the session starts. This is useful when you are, asking for say 5-6 hours and you don't want to wait for the job to start. So you can just submit a job and close the website and, go do your other work, and then you will get an email when the job starts running, and then you can log back into the on-demand site and connect to the session and do your work. So that's the point. So I will not do that right now. So that's it. So this is a regular HPC job, and so I went ahead and submitted few jobs before the workshop in case the cluster get busy and my job will never start. Okay, my second session is, so when you submit a job, it sits in the queue, and once it started running, it will prepare your session and then have you access it. So you can control a few things, the image quality, compression. I would not worry about that right now. So I'll just go to the desktop. Right, so this is a compute node. The node name is HPC i3615. So you can see it here. And so this is a GUI, interface to that node. So you can see, for example, if I want to run Matlab, in that case, I have to type something in the terminal, right? But this has X11 forwarding. So you will see the Matlab splash screen in a minute. It takes a second because Matlab is slow. Okay, so here you go. The latest Matlab 2020 A version. And notice that this is all going on this inside this web page. It has nothing to do with, so it has nothing to do with X11 forwarding in your machine or anything. So you will see the whole thing in a web page. So that's the nice thing about Openondemand. And the overhead of Openondemand is very small. It's a minimal. It's a VNC session if you know what it is. So it's a minimal VNC install. So this is here's my Matlab, and it's ready. No, it says ready, but okay. Let's run something. So the delay is the Matlab, not Openondemand or anything. You can see it's busy. Okay, so here's my plot, and let's move it around, and I think, interact with I can rotate the graph. So you don't see any slowdown. This is as if you are logged into that node directly. And if the image quality is not that good, you can tweak that in here. So you can go to, you have to close this and re-log in. I mean, restart, relaunch the desktop, where you can tweak the image quality and if you think it's too slow or your connection is too slow, then you can go to like high compression. You can play with these controls a little bit to get like optimum, viewing. But yeah, so that. So when you are done, I can just close this window, but that will not kill the job. So you have to delete the job, and if you didn't do that, it'll run rest of the time, and then it'll count towards your, then your next job will be, slower. So if you are done with the job, just delete it, confirm it, and then that job is gone. And if you want to, leave it running and come back later, you can do that. So I have another job running. I think that's Rcc Desktop. So by the way, if you go to my interactive sessions, that'll list all the current interactive jobs you are running. I have few here for demonstrations. So you can just connect to this job again if you didn't, delete it, and continue your work. This is best for, like, if you need a lot of memory or like a node, like a few core node without too many people on it. If you compile something on the login node, you might notice sometimes it takes a lot of time, sometimes it's very fast. That's because there are other users doing similar things. So depending on that, your compiling takes from 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. So if you don't want to, do see that, then you can, get a uh, desktop. It's a compute node and compile your code or run your Python script and draw your graphs, plot the results, and then kill the job. So that's the point of having Rcc Desktop. Any questions about this so far? Okay.
Yeah, Prasad, this is similar to X2Go. Why was OnDemand chosen over others?
X2 Go.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't heard about X2 Go, and the simple reason Openondemand was chosen is, we heard about this last year during an HPC conference, and a lot of HPC centers were using it, and they were having, they were saying nice things about it. And we were also looking for, GUI tool like this so that people can easily, use HPC. Also, Openondemand is currently being developed and supported, and I think, OSC got like 2 million grant from NSF for like 3 or 5 years. Don't quote me on that. So couple of years. So it's going to be supported for at least 3-4 years, and more than like 70 HPC centers are using it. And we've talked to few of them, and they all said nice things. So that's the main reason we wanted to go with Openondemand. But if we find another tool is better and works nice for everybody, then you know we are all for switching to whichever tool is best.
And Derek Nee asks, can you add time to an existing session?
Not really. You cannot do that. You have to start a new session. Because even under Slurm, if you submit a job, it's an administrative task to add time, I believe. I mean, you can do that, but um, actually you can, but not through Openondemand. That's what I meant. You cannot. Okay? You can add time, but it's a terminal. Through terminal, you have to type Slurm commands and do that. Did I answer your question?
He said that's pretty inconvenient and puts you on the clock.
Well, that's the downside of using a shared resource, right? Like if you ask for, if you need say 4 hours on backfill, then you have to wait, right? Until you get, until a resource is available. But if you ask for 1 hour and try to extend it to 3 more hours, that's not, fair to other users in some sense, because, if they have slower jobs. This is, I'm digressing to a whole lot of different discussion. I think we've had similar discussions before, but yes, I mean, it is inconvenient from the user perspective, but that's the reality. Anything else, Casey? Okay, so the next app I want to demonstrate is
Actually, something else, Prasad.
Yeah.
Eric Purrier asks if was there something about X11 forwarding mentioned before? Can that be clarified, or did I misinterpret / mishear?
X11 forwarding. Okay, so if you go to cluster and the shell access, there is no X11 forwarding in this terminal. If you want X11 forwarding, you have to get an Rcc Desktop or any other. I mean, if you want Matlab, you can just okay. Let's do that. You can just go to Matlab if you want X11 forwarding and Matlab. So this is pretty. Did I answer your question, Casey?
He says, okay, thanks, because X11 forwarding is for GUI, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So all these apps do have X11 forwarding. I mean, you can interact with the GUI. Saying that they have X11 forwarding is not exactly right, because you are interacting everything through a web page, but it's as if you have X11 forwarding. So if you want Matlab, so you can choose the version. You can choose, I'll choose 2018B because we already saw 2020. I'll choose backfill 2. I need, say, 1 hour. I can change the number of cores. Say, I'll just pick 1 core because I want my job to start faster. So now it sits in the queue.
So Florian asks, I may have missed it in your answer, but is there a performance advantage of X11 over Openondemand, let's say for Matlab? That's a really good question, by the way.
That's a good question, actually. Okay, I have a practical answer for that. Because, okay, when you connect from home, for example, if you use X11 forwarding, it's quite slow, especially for Matlab GUI. But if you use Openondemand, I mean, I am connecting from home if you didn't notice. So, but you don't see any slowdown. I mean, if I connect through X11 forwarding, and if I run Zoom and everything, then my connection is really, trained, and this is my Matlab job. So my Matlab will not start this fast. I mean, I would not be able to interact with the GUI this well. Let me show you. I've forgotten most of my Matlab though. Okay, let's give it a minute to initialize and start. So you can see it's 2018B, the version I selected, not the 2020. So the module's working. So if you open up this GUI through X11, it's quite slow, especially if you are, working from home. I've noticed that before, but here, the Openondemand is much faster in that sense. You will see this performance gain, especially in Jupyter Notebook or RStudio or Matlab. So yeah, until Matlab is ready, let's go to another So I'm not, okay, I will show you the, yeah, let's go to our studio. I will not submit another job, but I will show you the slight differences. So you can choose the partition, the time, and the number of cores, and you are limited to a single node because it's R. Um, if you have an MPI based R job, we can do two things. We can either lift this restriction and have you select the number of nodes. Also, you can submit a job. We'll come to that later. And you can choose the amount of memory. Its default is 2 gigs, and you can choose the R module, whichever R version you want. I already have. Let's see if the okay. So Matlab is ready. So you can see. I can interact with Matlab pretty fast. So there's no print. I think it's disk. I'm hoping this will works. Yeah. So I can interact with the GUI pretty well without any delay. So I would say Openondemand has much better performance than if you connect through X11 because of the compression and everything. I mean, because of the connection speed. So let me close. Did I answer your question, Florian? So let's connect to the R Studio session. So I already submitted this job. So this is your R Studio, and we do not currently support R Studio on HPC because it's only running on Sphere, and there are a few issues back in a couple of years ago. So we do not have R Studio. So this is a new addition to our support. I'm not an R user, so I just found some code from somebody else and I'm going to run it. It's just generating Fibonacci numbers. Say I want 15 numbers. All I want to demonstrate is, it works, and you can see it's pretty fast. It's responding faster. I can type. I've seen this. The terminal. So I can do less PWD. So it's as if I'm in front of that node. So that's why I'm saying it's much faster than using X11 forwarding. So you can do pretty much anything you do in your laptop or desktop when you run RStudio. So this is pretty fast.
Florian has another question.
Yep.
For Saul.
Yeah.
He asks, is there a way to load a specific module while starting an interactive session? For instance, can you start a Matlab/RStudio interactive session with GNU/9.11 module loaded?
You can select your Matlab or R version. Yes. But what's the last part of his question?
He's asking if you can load multiple modules, basically.
Right now, no. But if you are using R, like you want to use like, say, GNU or Intel or something like that?
Yeah.
Currently, no. We wanted to keep things very simple, but it all depends on the user's, input and interest. So if you want something like that, we can add that. Managing these features on Openondemand is pretty simple and straightforward. So just let us know what you need. This is our first introduction to Openondemand. So if you need any of advanced features, we are happy to have that available for you. Just send us a ticket and explaining what you need, and we'll see how we can support that. Because we wanted to keep things simple as well as helping people use this tool. So it's all up to you guys. So just let us know what you need. And I'm going to close my RStudio window, and if I want it again, I can just click this. So if you just disconnected from the internet or whatever, then you can come back and your sessions will still run. So you don't have to have Openondemand open or logged into the site for your jobs to run or your sessions to run. So that's the nice feature. So I'll just show one more app. I know a little bit about Python. So, and Python, Jupyter Notebook is one thing I could not run on Sphere even from my office. Even on site, it is very slow, and it takes like, and I scroll the web page or scroll the page, it takes like 5 seconds to go a couple of steps, and then I'm already frustrated. So the Jupyter Notebook on Sphere or HPC login is very ineffective. So this is the first tool I wanted to have on Openondemand, and I'm glad the way it turned out. So you have to do a couple of things though. That's why I wanted to talk about Jupyter. As you know, we only install the basic Python on HPC because there are like hundreds and hundreds of different modules, and you have to install those on your home directory using virtual N. As a result, Jupyter Notebook is not installed by default, and we could, but we support at least 4 different Python versions: Python 2, Python 3, and Anaconda Python, I think at least 2 versions. So installing Jupyter Notebook for each and every version, every time we add a new version or upgrade something is not very practical. So we wanted you to do that like using virtual N. So in the page I mentioned that, so I have a link to the virtual N page. So I'm sure the Python users have seen this. So this is only like 2 lines that you have to type. Only 2 lines that you have to type in the terminal. So it's a one-time thing. You have to install the Jupyter Notebook before you use it. So that's the only thing different about the Jupyter Notebook in Openondemand. And you have to choose your Python version. You have to give the path to your the virtual env installation. For example, I have my virtual env installed here. So GPFS home Prasad virtual 3 bin, that's my choice. So you can have any directory. So that's the only difference between Jupyter Notebook app and the other apps. And then you have to specify the partition, the number of hours, number of cores, and the memory, like in the RStudio. So I already have a Jupyter Notebook session running. Let's connect to that. Connect to Jupyter. So let's open up a Python notebook. And so opening takes a second, but after that it's pretty fast, and you can just scroll things as if this is on your desktop or laptop. There's no slowdown whatsoever. I can run. So I can run the notebook and see, so this is running on HPC i3010. So it's a compute node. You are accessing it through Openondemand, and it's all, behind the scene. You don't have to worry about where exactly it's running. And yeah, it's taking a second because I have so many Matlab modules, but so it's pretty straightforward, and you don't have to worry about the performance or anything. Let's Okay, so it's running and it's yeah. So you can see if you are a Jupyter or Python user, this is pretty handy, and I found this pretty nice because I could not have anybody else like open up an IPython notebook and show me what they were doing within 5 minutes. It's pretty slow usually with X11. So if you set up your Python and Jupyter Notebook and everything, if you do that initial work, then after that, you don't have to worry about anything. And if you just close the window, then you can connect it anytime as long as the job is running. So any question about like using virtual env or anything? Yeah, this is like data mining project with Shakespeare's books. I'm just going to close this window. Yeah. So we have a couple of more apps I'm not going to show because I know very little about Stata. I know very little about Visit, but I'm sure some of you are Stata users, Visit users, and you can try them and let us know if there are any issues, or like Florian mentioned, if you want like a different options in the form, like the submit form, we'll try to have them available as soon as possible. Right, so this is all nice. It's about the interactive apps, right? But you only have like 6 or 5 applications. So what about you have your own code? How would you run your own job or your C++ code with your Fortran job? So for that, there's something called Job Composer and Active Job. So you can look at the jobs menu and open the Job Composer. One more thing about the apps, interactive apps. So Openondemand do support custom interactive apps. Like you can develop your own apps, or we can install apps just for you. You will only see them on when you log in. Nobody else, other users cannot see those apps. We can either install it for you, or we can let you develop it. We will. It's not very hard. There are like resources available on Git by OSC, Ohio Supercomputing Center. We can either show you the resources, or we can enable you to develop apps if you are in like advanced.
I got a question about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And is that applicable to only accounts, or can it be applied to groups as well?
That's a good question. I am not sure about the groups. But okay, in theory, it should be possible for groups to install apps, because if you are part of a group, yes, if you are part of a group, then all users associated with that group should be able to see that apps. I haven't tried that, but I think that's the way it works. That's a good question, actually. Any other questions?
Yeah, Ding Jiang has a question. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, by the way. Do I have authority to access my R library on OpenOnDemand? For example, can I import a customized R package into my R library on OpenOnDemand?
Yes, you can. Anything you do on HPC, you can do on Openondemand. Openondemand is just like a where you log in. It's just a portal. Once you are in HPC. So whatever you do on HPC, you can do on um, when you log in through Openondemand. There's no difference. Only difference is instead of using SSH-X, username at HPC-login, blah, blah, you are using Openondemand to login. After login, it's the same system and there's no difference. And yeah. But okay, I was talking about the job composer. Yeah. So job composer is, it provides the way for you to create your own jobs. So we have very basic template job. So yeah, let me back up. So you want to create a new job, you click here, and there are a couple of ways. You can use a default template. You can use one of your previous jobs. So if you go to if you want to use a template, we have like a basic Slum template. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just it's from our HPC documentation, and you can edit it by clicking the Open Editor button here. Again, you can change the settings. You can edit it. So my advice, so I think I prefer you use our submit script generator. Go to rcc.fsc.edu rather than just writing your own submit script, because the point is you don't have to type commands, right?
It's under the Learn submenu.
Yeah, learn submit script generator. I'm sorry. And generate your submit script by clicking everything you want here, and then copy it, paste it on the editor. If you don't want any emails, I want, say, 2 cores, partition, backfill 2. I'm just randomly selecting stuff. I want, say, 4 hours. Whichever. So I'm not going to create a job here, but I'm just showing you. So you just copy this, and instead of using this, you can just replace it with the script you generated from the submit script generator, and then save it. So you have it here, and then you can. Oh, I don't think I created a job that means anything, so I'll use this one. Yeah, so this is my custom job. It's just hello world with OpenMPI. I can submit it and submitting it to Slurm. Okay, so you have the job ID, and you want to see how it's doing. So if you go here for jobs and active jobs, okay, so my job is queued. These are my interactive jobs. They are still running, so I can see them. So my hello job is queued and it's pending. I can see it's pending other jobs because I've run few jobs already, so it's pending. My priority is sort of low, and you can see how the cluster is doing. So it's pretty busy. So anything you do with in command line, this is the sinfo command, for example. Anything you do on HPC by command line, most of the things, like you asked, you can add tag to a job, for example. Sort of that sort of things are impossible, but you can see the do the basic things. So my hello job is completed. So I can either go back here. Or I want to see the output. So I have to go to my home directory. I think it's in here. So that's my job. So I want to see, not edit. So I view the file. Okay, I haven't. I'm not sure what this means, but my job ran and it gave me the correct output. So I got my job ran. And this is my code. So if I want to edit it, I can edit here. I'm just showing you the workflow. If I don't like the, okay, so it doesn't understand Fortran. So it's giving me a default, mode, unfortunately. So, so that's how you submit a custom job, and you can post the job or delete the job while it's pending or running if you want, or you can just delete this file altogether here. And control, okay, this, I mean, if you have a job array, you can control that. So it's pretty basic job submit, pretty basic way to submit your jobs and see the status. Any questions about that, the job composer, or anything else about the Open-on-Demand? Oh, one more thing, if you haven't noticed, so all these, when you submit a job, it generates several files. All of these would end up in your home directory. So if you, so for example, my jobs, yeah, so I haven't submitted many. So this is batch jobs. So these are all the data, or like the files that are related to the jobs you submitted. So after a while, you might want to clean up your on-demand directory under your home directory. Because I haven't submitted like many jobs from this account, so there's not much in here. So after a while, you might want to clean up this on-demand directory. That's the only thing you have to care about. So that's everything I wanted to show today. But now it's time to ask questions. If you have any or comments. Casey, does anybody have any questions? Okay, then I thank everybody for attending this first, I think the first Open on Demand session.
Eric Pryor asks, is there any particular tool that protocol you recommend? I don't know. Downloading directly from the internet, compressed files. Is there any particular protocol you recommend?
You mean through Open on Demand? Like you can download, say, files in your home directory. That's what you were asking. You can download a directory altogether if you want. It'll create a zip file, and you can download it and you can unzip it. Can you unmute and ask the question?
He said that's very helpful. So,
Oh, okay.
If anybody else has any questions, the recommended way to reach Prasad is to submit a support ticket to support@rcc.fsu.edu, and he will be happy to answer those, I assume.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we want the input from the users because this is something. This is the starting point. So we wanted to develop in a way that helps our users. So feel free to let us know what you think and what you need. I'm sure we'll have a lot more apps in here in a year. I will close this.
Okay, Prasad, well, thanks. I think we can end it here if you want.
Yeah.
And
So thank you everybody for attending this workshop, and just like Casey mentioned, just send us a support ticket if you need anything. By the way, one last thing. So if I log out here, it'll tell me you are not yet logged out. So that's why I open a private window. You have to close your browser for you to log out. So that's the only downside in this I've seen. So yeah, that's it.